Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Fitbaw Cast.
Good afternoon.
It's not afternoon. It's 11:30 in the morning.
Good morning. Good start as ever to the
I suppose statistically it might be likely that it's afternoons that you're listening
to it. Well, yeah. Or do we say good evening? Throw them all in there and I'll just splice them all together.
I like how you nodded to the microphone there, Andrew.
It's like towards it. Hey, Sensei.
So as ever,
as people switched off already.
I wonder how many people give us like a 30-second chance, like, okay, I'll check these guys out, and then after 30 seconds, like, okay, I'm done.
With intros like this,
Nailed it. So this episode of the pod is episode, don't know,
30.
Do you 3 times table? Come on, we tell you this every time it's you hosting, you fool.
Numbers aren't my game, bro.
Oh no.
So episode 30, where this is the RG3 appreciation pod.
Just about to say the episode number is RG3 times the number on your shirt.
So if we had 3 RG3s, okay, that's maybe a good way to. He's number 10, so 3 would be 3 times 10.
It's RG.
But his number's 10.
Yeah, so he's.
So
right,
he's
not.
See, math is not his strong point.
His number times his.
The number in his name,
His shirt number at the Skins, let's just be very clear. I don't know what
so
he actually was at
Gav, just because this is a podcast and you can't see him, is wearing a Washington Redskins RG3 shirt as we record.
It's a bit of a classic shirt, but in hindsight, it's one of these
that's
when bust type.
That was when it was exciting to be a Redskins fan.
I'm trying to think what I've got maybe like when I wear my Sam Bradford St. Louis Rams one.
Wow.
I'm going to find a list of all my stupid shirts I've got. CJ2K, I've got Tennessee Titans 28.
CJ2K.
I have one shirt.
Your Larry Fitz hero
Fitz.
shirt.
Well,
Is he coming back?
I don't know.
You asked that as though you knew him personally there.
Yeah, you tagged him up on his Twitter.
Me and Larry on the down low, yeah.
You got some Twitter interaction this week. Who was you?
Jeff Reinbold.
That's it.
Yeah, Big Jeff gave me a little tweet back. We're basically bros.
I don't know if you.
I noticed you did that from your personal one rather than the podcast one.
Do you
for the exposure.
No, do you want to know why?
Because you forgot the password.
I feel like I've asked it too many times. I'm at that point now where I'm like, shit. Oh god damn! I wish this wasn't recorded.
I'll send you it later.
So, football. There was loads of football that happened last week. So let's do a quick catch up on some of the games that happened in the division.
How about we do all the games because there was only 4?
Okay, well, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Well, let's go with the first thing. Everyone who won on wildcard weekend out.
Yes. So first and second seeds.
Actually,
both sides.
So a really interesting point that someone made on Twitter that I seen was how everyone that you thought at the start of the season, so if you rank all the favourites, they're all there. So
I had Kansas City finishing bottom.
Not how we. Sorry, not us.
The actual
experts,
pros.
The experts. Yeah, so people that knew what they were talking about, opposed to us. So you had the Patriots, the Saints, the Chiefs, and the Rams.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, they're probably your top 4 favourites to win the Super Bowl.
There's certainly 3. The other 3 I agree with. I think there was too many questions over the Chiefs at the start.
I think
I'm going to chuck in. I think the Vikes would have been heavily touted in the off season.
Yeah, with the
Cousins and how good they were last year. I think a lot of people were saying them doing quite good. A lot of people would have fancied Green Bay to at least hit the
I think though when you put it to the
Eagles to kick on from winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because in theory in the off season they did not deplete. They only really got better. So, which is a rare thing for a Super Bowl winning team. Normally their team gets decimated because half of them hit free agency and then jump ship for mega money.
Yeah.
which is going to happen this season to the Eagles.
Yeah, I think so.
So it was just interesting that I've seen that, and you know, I think we do talk about parity as one of the best things in the NFL.
Oh, 100%.
But then I think it also shows how important it is to have the right infrastructure at your team. Because when you look at all these teams, they all have that. You know, they've got decent GMs, they've got consistency throughout their roster, they don't tend to churn a lot. And it's something that we'll get onto later on in the pod. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting.
So who was the first game up?
The first game up was Colts at the Chiefs.
Now, what did we say? What did we say at the end of last week's episode?
Don't know.
We fancied the Colts to sneak in there and come away with a cheeky away win.
That's true.
I was quite in on that, and I quite liked it. Considering how well they did against Houston, they absolutely shut them down. I thought if they go in and play roughly the same as that, they're gonna put Kansas City in the back foot.
So where do we want to start?
So this looked like first of all this looked like the perfect matchup for the Colts. Strong in the secondary, run game playing absolutely outstanding football in the weeks leading up to this game against the Chiefs, who of the playoff teams had the worst rushing defense through the regular season. And that rushing defense held Marlon Mack to 46 yards from 9 carries.
That's awful. Considering how good he's been for about the last 10 weeks.
Yep.
You know
but
what I mean?
I can't remember if it was on the pod or on the group chat that we spoke about this, so where was the run defense bad though because their secondary was getting torched, but then teams were ahead of the game, so they're just running constantly because the Chiefs.
Yeah, it could be a bit of both.
So, stats can always be skewed depending on different scenarios, but we actually spoke about how the Chiefs' best defensive side was the front.
Yep.
So
certainly their pass rush is probably the strongest point. This was all about the run game this game, if you look at the stats. There was rushing touchdowns for the Chiefs for Damian Williams, Tyreek Hill, the other Williams, whose first name I can't remember, and Pat Mahomes.
Damien and Darrell Williams.
Oh, they're even similar in first name.
I know.
Yeah, they are. I was going to write it down as D, and I thought that can't work, so I write D8. No, that's still the same.
The Williams backfield.
It?
4 rushing touchdowns for the Chiefs. No passing touchdowns, but Mahomes did. He was 27 for 41, 278 yards through the air. Solid game.
Yeah, considering the weather. Because it was suspected snow game. Thankfully, it didn't really.
No, it wasn't really impact.
It snowed heavily just before. The Colts' first play, they lined it up 9 blockers, a quarterback, and a running back, and I thought, wow, what game we are in for.
20 past 9 on a Saturday night, and you're like, I give up. That's pointless before you start watching this game.
So.
Set you up for a snooze fest.
Chiefs at the end of the first quarter were up 14-0. At half time they were up 24-7. The game was over before it began.
Did they go 21-0 up? I'm trying to remember if I watched that far in before Indianapolis, because Indianapolis got the defensive touchdown and it was quite near. It was before half time. It was quite near the end of the half.
Yes, I'm fairly certain it was 21-0.
I think they'd already gone 21-0 up, and it's pretty much
I'm sure they did.
I was like, that's pretty much over now.
I thought it was an Andy Reid masterclass. I think we spoke about before how the Colts defense played really well against Houston, but Houston Hopkins he's had a banged up ankle all season and still delivered incredible numbers, but Lamar Miller sort of faded away and the Houston offensive line is terrible.
Yep.
This is a completely different game. You're playing a team that can beat you in the run and in the air. And the QB is a wild card. He can do, as we've seen in the game, where he does some crazy passes as per. But I think it was an absolute Andy Reid masterclass. He kept that defense, guessing the full game. And when you've got people like Tyreek Hill who can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yep.
It's too hard to beat.
He's in your fanboy club alongside Rodgers.
My dream is Aaron Rodgers throwing passes to.
Tyreek Hill. Oh, God,
to Tyreek Hill. Oh my God! And Tyrod Taylor playing the Taysom Hill role.
As soon as the game starts, you'll be like, damn!
I can't watch it anymore.
Oh, God,
my brain would explode.
Don't think it'd be your brain that would explode.
But yeah, when you see Tyreek Hill's rushing touchdown though, it just shows There's no wide receiver in the league that is as good as him in the things that he does.
Yeah.
To back up your point there about the Andy Reid masterclass, they have not played like this at any point throughout the season. It's almost like they kept it in their back pocket and they thought, you know what, we're going to go air offense mental all season. See when it gets to January, we're just going to flip it on our head, piss everyone off.
It's funny as well, obviously everything that happened with Kareem Hunt, a lot of people have seen that as this is the moment where their season, they go one and done in the playoffs.
Yep. But
it looks like whatever he's done with Damian Williams, who was cut from the Dolphins, and picked up as a third string because it was Spencer. He's beat Spencer Ware to the starting gig. So and they obviously brought in Charkandrick West as well, who was a former Chiefs player. So for Williams to be doing the things that he's doing, I think Andy Reid deserves a lot of credit, and I think you can see why his coaching tree is starting to be highly valued.
Yep.
For the Colts, I actually felt a little bit sorry for Andrew Luck. It just looked like one of those games where no matter what he done, nothing was going to work.
Yeah, they were a bit lost. Why, we don't know. Just sometimes you get a team and they just can't get themselves to the same level they have been for previous weeks.
Yeah,
it's just a slightly off week, and it's the wrong time to have it.
Yeah.
It's just a shame. Considering how good they were for that stretch in the middle of the season, where they were absolutely making a mockery. Their O-line was, 5 hits and 1 sack in about a 6-game window or something.
Ridiculous.
Some utter nonsense.
Massive positives from this season for the Colts. They obviously started a bit slow. They had an incredible spell in the middle. Reich looks like the right guy for them going forward.
Luck is very much back.
He's back,
which
he's
is
fit,
good.
he's healthy. We've discussed before, they've got loads of cap space.
Loads of
They
draft
can
picks
go
too as well.
mental this off-season.
Colts are there to be a contender for the next few years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think one other thing, I don't know if you remember the play, but Darius Leonard's forced fumble. How he is not, what was it? He made the All-Pro,
He
but
made the
All-Pro,
All-Pro, but didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Crazy.
Not as a first. I think he's in as an alternate now. People are dropping out, but he should have been in there.
This is why you don't allow the public to vote.
Yeah. What team do I support?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's more name recognition. Pro Bowl, there can be a lot of people that get an extra season or two where really they shouldn't be there, but because their career has warranted them being in, they keep getting nominated every year type thing.
Just to add to the Darius Leonard, I think he might become the defensive fanboy that I'm going to give. Just from a stat I've got here, he had the most tackles and 10 tackles and assisted 4 tackles, so 14 in total. He's a linebacker, so he's not expected to do all those things, but he does. Yeah. Which is awesome. So I think he definitely deserves a shout.
I think he's no brainer throwing himself right into the mix alongside Luke Kuechly at Carolina.
Maybe
Jalen
surpassed
Smith
already.
or Leighton Vander Esch in Dallas.
Leighton Vander Esch, say it correctly.
That top tier of linebackers.
Yep.
He is right in that mix.
Yep, awesome.
Right, second game on Saturday was the Cowboys 22, LA Rams 30.
One thing I think that definitely needs mentioned this was CJ Anderson. Picked up just a couple of weeks ago, and what was it,
23 attempts, 123 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, as well as Gurley 16 attempts, 115 yards and a touchdown.
I think that is incredible from the Rams and Sean McVay.
They went all running game as well, which they kind of have had spells of that throughout the season, and then they kind of drift towards wide receiver play, and then have sort of drifted back, and then had that really bad spell beginning in December where you didn't really know what was happening with the Rams.
It's interesting that
they're kind of coming good again
since why can I not remember his name? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Who was injured? Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
Yeah, since he's gone down, it looks like they've favoured the run game. And obviously
still had 2 solid wide receiver performance in terms of yardage. So Woods was 6 receptions for 69 yards from 8 targets, and Cooks was 4 receptions for 65 yards from 6.
What did Goff have? 186?
Goff was 186 yards, 15 for 28.
Yeah.
So it's just...
So what was the weather like again? Because it was touted for that one that it was meant to be an absolute
it was in
downpour,
LA, so
but it didn't end up being that, did it?
Do you know what? I have
watched the
seen
highlights,
0
but
of
I
this
didn't
game.
see the...
It's more than I've seen.
Yeah. No, I watched the
the
highlights
as well.
I didn't watch the full game, but they didn't, because it was the sort of condensed highlights, they weren't talking about the weather. I know touted before the game they were worried that LA would be an absolute washout and it'd be horrendous weather, which then favours your run game.
Yeah.
But whether it was because it rained before and it stopped and didn't run during the game, but the field was all chewed up, that's how they still decided to go with that. It could have been.
I mean, you compare that run game the run stats for the Rams. Zeke was held to 20 attempts, 47 yards.
That was
crazy.
1 touchdown. But yeah, to hold Zeke to 47 yards with 20 attempts. Both of the Saturday night games, the difference was the run game.
100%. Yeah.
What's interesting, I think, is sort of recently the Cowboys' defense. It's been their front that everyone's been, praising, and the Rams have just went straight for it. And on the flip of the Cowboys, everyone's been praising that they've started to give the ball back to Zeke, but the Rams were able to hold him.
Because Cooper's opened up that game since the trade. I mean,
he had a good game as well, though. He still got a touchdown and 60 plus yards.
65 yards from 6 attempts. Their leading receiving yardage was Michael Gallup, 6 receptions for 119 yards.
That's good, actually, because he was their 3rd round pick this year.
Yeah, he was.
So if they've got him coming at the 4, I mean, they're out now, but I think actually it's been a good season for the Cowboys. And considering what people possibly expected going into the season and how they started,
their season turned on the Amari Cooper trade.
Yeah,
it really did.
And if you ask any Cowboys fan now, I don't think a single one of them would say, "Yeah, we want that 1st round pick back."
No,
they're all.
I think if you asked anyone that watches the NFL, even all of us, I don't think you can argue it now.
No, hell no. Yeah, everything seems to
it's
work
done
well.
exactly what they needed it to do.
Yeah.
So you can't argue that when you think of some of the 1st round picks that have gone out there and some of the busts, and so they could just have easily blown that 1st round, but instead they've picked up a wide receiver that's fitting their scheme. He's getting the best out of their most offensive player because he's keeping defenses honest.
Yep.
So I don't think you can argue.
Mr. Clappy looks like he's about to re-up his contract, so there's more years of the Jason Garrett era in Dallas.
Well,
on the flip side of that, the Rams, Ndamukong Suh decided to show up.
Finally.
He,
to be
albeit
fair,
statistically doesn't have like numbers flying off. Like you get like Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald can dominate a game, and you see the numbers at the end of it, and you're like, holy moly, that's just a ridiculous performance. Suh had that on Saturday, but not in terms of the stat sheets. He just happened to be blowing up the middle of the field on most of he was dominating, causing havoc, and upsetting the Cowboys' offense. So it comes good for them if he's decided, okay, I want my ring now, I'm going to actually play for 3 weeks. Bodes quite well for
you know what? Will the Rams care if he turns up for 3 weeks?
Oh hell no. Because he's only on a 1 year deal with them anyway, so it's up to them. I think there's a good chance he goes somewhere else next season.
I agree.
So
I think they can afford to keep him. I think
probably not. Well, it's about 20 million tied up in him this year. It's a lot of money to tie up in just him when the rest of the defense is good. But not say as good without him. But I think he's replaceable at that amount of money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He'll go somewhere else, earn another 20 million a season. That's what he's going to do for the next 3-4 years until he calls it quits. Now.
It's just going to be a mercenary.
Yeah.
Don't blame him at all.
No, hell no.
Big fan of money.
Yeah. Ain't we all?
Yeah. So
I've got Lions and Ndamukong Suh top. Anyway, back to the games. I've actually got about 23, so I'm not going to sit here and list all of them.
Steve's shirt collection. So I think Rams, they've done what they needed to do. They neutralised the Cowboys. Wasn't the flashiest. It maybe looks flashier in terms of the stat line, but I think
it wasn't like an offensive juggernaut that they had in the early part of the season, or even the game against the Chiefs, the Monday night game, the 54-51, where it didn't matter that the defenses weren't playing. Everyone's just like, oh my god, this game's amazing. But we've got the job done, and they're marching on, and they're into New Orleans.
I think from the Rams as well, just
spoiler.
I'm assuming most people listen to this probably paid enough attention to know what's happening.
One final thing I wanted to say on the Rams, and it was more of just a Rams throwback to presenting the best start of the season earlier in the year, when their worst offensive lineman was the best player in his position. Highest rated. That was John Sullivan.
The left side of the line with Whitworth and Saffold were making an absolute mockery of the Cowboys' defense at the weekend as well, which is part of the reason why the run game did so well. So all the stuff we were reading about was just those two were just causing absolute havoc.
Awesome, love it, love it. Where are we going next? I know I'm host, but you can do this part.
On to Sunday night.
The man who's prepared.
First game was Chargers 28, Patriots 41. Another game that was over by half time.
Wasn't even over by half time. It was over by the first 4 minutes.
Well, no, because New England went 7-0 up. The Chargers did respond with a touchdown, came back to 7-0. 14-7 from the next New England play. So it was 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. It was the second quarter where the Patriots put up 21 unanswered points. 5 touchdowns before the half.
Yeah, do you know why it's funny? Because last week I was congratulating the Chargers on what they did to the Bengals, shut them down, like schemed them off the field.
The Bengals,
the exact
Ravens.
same. Yeah, sorry. What am I talking about? Anyway, but the exact same opposites happened this week. It's the Pats that absolutely out-schemed the Chargers. The Chargers had nothing.
Everybody could see it coming.
And but for whatever reason, I can't. I should be able to give them. If I'm really impartial about it, I should be able to sit there and go, the Patriots did brilliant. But I just don't want to give them any love. I can't. I don't know.
Sony Michel, 24 attempts, 129 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns.
Second round draft pick, was he?
Something like that,
pick 31.
End of the first.
End of the first.
Yeah. Rex Burkhead with a rushing touchdown. Or was that a receiving touchdown? No, it was a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, it was rushing, I'm sure.
And Brady had 1 passing touchdown. I don't have noted down who that was to. Julian Edelman.
Philip Dorsett,
so it was. And Edelman, 9 receptions, 151 yards from 13 targets.
Did you see he went second all-time reception leader in postseason? That surprised me when I seen that. I didn't realise but of course it makes sense if you think of how dominating the Patriots have been.
Yeah.
So he's second on the list behind Jerry Rice.
Makes sense just from appearances alone.
Yeah.
And Gronk didn't get a touchdown in this one, but if he gets a touchdown, he'll be second in postseason touchdowns.
Wow.
Again,
he actually played
Rice.
okay on Sunday. For a lot of people who have been writing Gronk off, considering he's really not had a great season at all, and again the rumours are out he's going to strongly consider retirement this off season. I think he does. I think that's him. Especially if they win it, I think he's just going to say that's enough. I don't know if he's going to come back because this is the 3rd year now he's contemplated retirement.
Yeah.
He has come back for the last 2, and he's just not the same. This is his worst. Statistically, his regular season was the worst since 2010.
Yeah,
on terms of touchdowns and receptions and yardage, and he just has had a really ropey season, and he's slower as well. That's what Ryan Bold was saying. He's not.
There's nothing worse than watching Tom Brady run though.
Unless he tried
to catch.
What was it? Was it against the Colts or somewhere? He tried to catch the pass and tripped over his own ankles.
It's like his legs are made out of quicksand and it's just going away from him.
Legs.
So you compare that rushing performance to the Chargers, who had a total 19 rushing yards. They did have a rushing touchdown, Melvin Gordon. Gordon went down.
Did he get injured? I was in the first quarter.
Came back,
he was back in the second half. Yeah, but I think he sat out most of the second quarter, which then would have changed their offense, which is probably part of the reason why Belichick would have just sat there and gone,
awesome, but he is injured so much.
Yeah.
Can you trust him to be your workhorse with the amount of time that he is off?
I'm not going to write him off yet because I don't think he's been injured enough.
He has a lot of
but little piddly ones.
2-3 weeks.
So who was it we were saying? So early in the season we were, I think I was ready to say Fournette is very much like that. He's got dodgy hamstrings, whatever. But actually, when you looked into it, he had a hamstring injury and an ankle injury. That's the only 2 things he's had.
Yeah.
And he played all 16 games last year. So it's a perception that we think Gordon has this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think that could be that. So he's not like. I'm trying to find what's the best example. I don't know. If I can think of someone. Well, I was going to say Bob Sanders, but neither of you will know who he was.
Nope.
So he was a safety for the Colts back when I first got in it. It's about 10 years ago. Absolute. I mean, like a game wrecker, but hard hitting safety. He would just be like a bullet. He'd fly out and head first dive into you and take you out with his helmet, sort of nonsense. It was amazing to watch him. But he only played about 6 games in 3 seasons. Every year he played 2 games, he'd bust his shoulder and that's him out for 10. He'd come back for 1, boom, break his ankle, he's out for another 6 months. Come back the next season, he's played 3 games and he's off for 10. It's just, he just couldn't stay healthy. And every time he got an injury, it was a big, massive one. And then you after the 3rd season of him doing that, you're like, well, that's him done, and that's it. He never came back.
Yeah. Phil Rivers, I just want to quickly talk upon. So he had 330 yards and 3 touchdowns, which makes it sound like he had a good game, but I thought it was really bad. I didn't think he had a good game.
25 from 51, so over half of his passes were incomplete.
He didn't have that great a game against Baltimore either.
No, he didn't. He was held to under 200 yards, or was it just under or just over? I can't remember.
Did they draft a quarterback this year?
I think so. You want the reason I would do
Coming
it.
up, yeah.
The reason I would do it is you want that quarterback to learn off of Rivers before they have to be replacing Rivers. So there's no pressure for them to start.
Yeah, he'll have the whole of next season as like a redshirt year,
Yeah.
as they call it.
Yeah.
So he
Look
can
what
sit
it
and
done
learn and
wonders for Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think if the Chargers are smart, they draft this year.
depending on who's there and if they like anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we know it is a fairly
even-
big quarterback class coming up.
Even then, I think they still have to really consider if there's someone that they think has the potential, because I think you don't want to be in a position where you have to have that rookie
Boom or
start.
bust with that guy.
Yeah. I think you have to really consider what you can get out of this draft class.
So do they take like one of the suspected free agents and take them for a shortish term? 3-4 years.
Maybe,
Give them
but I
longer,
think you would
or-
get more value out of a younger
Draft
quarterback
pick.
learning from Phil Rivers than you would learn
Someone
off
From
more
of.
someone
vet.
who's going to be hitting
more
free
vet.
agency because they're not someone
Correct.
else's franchise guy.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
my
Yeah,
take.
Oh, got it.
So yeah, and there was definitely some of the Eli Manning wobbly ducks in there from Rivers from some of his passes. But yeah,
so,
and it just annoyed me because
so the poor Chargers are out.
I actually turned this off at halftime. I didn't watch any more of it.
The Chargers game.
The Chargers game, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of I had it on in the background, but I kind of
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, I didn't. It was on, but
It's
I
not,
was
not
not.
like me not really to pay attention to a game, but
Yeah.
I was really not paying attention to this one.
Patriots sucking the soul out of football, just like they suck air out of footballs.
You
went there.
Yeah, it's the poor Chargers. However, I know I kind of called them a sneaky pick for division win and whatever, and they've done really good in the in the regular season. I just haven't quite managed it in the postseason, but I still
can't
think
see
it's
how
a
they
good year.
I can't see how they go the next level. I don't see that right now. I don't.
So you think they could repeat what they've done this year, but they probably won't improve on it. Is what
Yeah,
you think.
that I don't, and that's not to say that that's bad, but I just physically can't see how they go above right now. Anyway, that's a chat for a different day.
It was Rivers that was getting all the stats at the weekend about he is the all-time leader in quarterbacks in a series of categories like yardage, whatever, that's never appeared in the Super Bowl.
It's the same thing as
Surprise you, does it though?
No, yeah, because he's had such a long career and he's done consistently well, but they've just never got to that.
it was interesting just to quickly skip back to something they said in the Chiefs game about Andy Reid, how he won't get a gold jacket unless he wins a Super Bowl. Is Phil Rivers the sort of same type of player where he's not going to get the recognition because he's not gone that far?
I think he's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I think he's a Hall of Fame.
I'm with you, Andrew. I think he's going to get there. He might not get it first ballot. If he gets if he gets the ring, he probably has a good argue for first ballot. He will get there because quarterbacks valued that much, and they will take up the most amount of spaces in the hall, generally speaking. So he will get there, but it might take him a year or two to get in, depending on who else is eligible at the same time.
Yep. Cool.
Last game of the weekend then, Eagles 14, Saints 20. Eagles took out a 14-0 lead in the first quarter and then fell apart. This game hinged on a bit of Sean Payton brilliance, to be perfectly honest.
Was it the fake punt?
So the fake punt. So they are on their own 30 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And 4th and
6 or something.
no,
like that,
it was
it?
like 4th and
Was
not
it?
very much.
I thought it was a big one.
No, it was 4th and 1. There was a flag on the play, and the Eagles had the choice to either push them back to 3rd and 6, play 3rd down again,
So it was, yeah.
or
Keep it on for one.
decline and keep them on 4th and 1. Declined the penalty on the basis that they were in their own territory. There's no way they're going to go for it. Lined up to punt, and they lined up our favourite gadget quarterback,
Taysom Hill.
and he took the snap directly and ran straight at Fletcher Cox and ran right through him. Now, I saw a great bit of analysis on Twitter.
I think I know where you're going with this, because I think I might have read the same thing, but carry on. Yeah.
So on punt plays, Cox just seems to not bother. He just stands up. And there's been quite a few examples of this through the season, and the Saints have obviously realised this. And when it came to that situation, they decided we will take the punt, but we won't really. And they ran straight at Cox, and he was standing up, not in
he wasn't
his
paying attention.
Yeah,
Yep.
wasn't prepared to actually attempt to
Have to
fight
tackle.
against anyone,
Yep.
and they just ran straight through him.
Straight through him.
So a great
saying
bit
brilliance,
of analysis
Yep.
from the Saints, and just a brilliant play. And from there, it was all Saints. They won 10-0 in the second quarter, 7-0 in the third, and then 3-0 in the fourth quarter. Come back to a 20-14 win.
Michael
Michael
kicking in this one. And this is the only game I've ever seen highlights for.
I don't think so.
No.
Not that I remember.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
No, Jake Elliott was 2 for 2 on his. And
It was probably me just getting confused with something else already.
Will Lutz missed a field goal, but I don't.
That wouldn't have made
Don't
a difference.
remember.
Yeah, so it's fine.
Don't
No,
remember
cool.
it.
Yeah, sorry. Carry on.
The big performance was Michael Thomas, 12 receptions, 171 yards.
Guy's a monster.
And a touchdown from 16 targets. So he caught 3/4 of the balls that came his way. Breeze, 28 from 30, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The interception being in the first play of the game.
Yeah,
That's
was.
what you
First
said,
play of the
yeah.
game, wasn't it?
That's what gave the Eagles the momentum,
Yep.
and then they lost it all.
Yep. Foles, 18 from 31, 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
One of the picks definitely wasn't his fault.
The game sealing interception. Both interceptions were Lattimore. He got both of them. But yeah,
was it the first one where it goes through Jeffrey's hands?
The first one was Foles' fault. He underthrew it.
No, did it not go through? What?
The second one went through Jeffrey's hands.
was
Right at the end. The first one he'd put it up, sort of basketball style, and it was just a little bit short. Lattimore made a great play on it though, and then the second one, straight through Jeffrey's hands into the.
Yeah, that's when they were marching down the field, wasn't it?
It was, and it was a 6-point game,
So they could have won it.
or was it a 3-point game at that point?
I think it was 6.
I know it was a 6-point game.
Yeah, they could have won it
It
with
was
a
a 6-point.
touchdown.
They could have won it with a touchdown, and
I think that.
they didn't.
Yeah. So
I remember waking
Great
up
game.
and seeing the chat, and you guys were all kicking off.
it was an awesome game.
So I was
It
getting,
was a
I was getting like
brilliant game.
real-time commentary from the lot of you chatting to each other as it was going through the game. Oh my god, playing catch up at 5 o'clock on Monday morning.
I would say it was probably the best game out of the 4.
Oh, easily.
That's the only one I didn't watch the highlights on. God damn me.
Well, there was 2 blowouts pretty much, and well, I can't say anything about the Cowboys Rams because I didn't watch it. But of the 3 that I watched, comfortably the best game.
It was tactically good. Like both coaches, done loads of different things, and both sides of both teams played well. Nobody played particularly bad. I think you could look at Foles' stat line on the front of it of 200 yards and 2 interceptions as he had a bad game, but I actually thought he actually made a lot of decent plays throughout the game, and I think it was more down to the Saints defence rather than him playing poorly.
I'm going to throw a little something in here, just thinking about it. The Saints have kind of been in the hunt for a couple of years, but for whatever reason it hasn't quite materialised.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel there's like a change in Peyton's demeanour this year more than he is super hungry to win the Super Bowl, and that's brushing off on the team. I mean the whole thing we talked about last week where he trolleyed in the money and the ring and the Lombardi is brilliant. I mean, if anyone's not seen the picture, go and hunt it down because they released the picture of him doing this and G'ing up the locker room. I think it's great from man management and totally getting particularly the rookies to really knuckle down, because they're going to get, some of those rookies are going to get the same as what they've got paid in salary in a bonus for winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The guys that are on the big contracts, it doesn't really make a
Drop the
difference to
ocean.
them. For them, it's about winning in the ring.
Yeah. So he's got everyone motivated.
Everyone's.
Do you
I just think he's super hungry for it this year.
I'm sure there was something I can't remember where I heard it or seen it, but they were talking about how it's like Taysom Hill has actually reignited his passion for coaching, like how this player it's like it's sparked
after a couple of seasons, because there was actually he was touted for the Cowboys job as recently as last season, was he not?
They were talking about trading for him.
Yeah, because they thought things were unraveling in New Orleans, and he'd eventually So it's almost come full circle, and he's back to where they were. Well, it's 2010 now they won it, was it not?
Taysom Hill is he just adds an extra dimension to that offense.
It's just crazy.
And from watching the Sky Sports coverage at the weekend, They were talking about Hill. And this is something that Payton's wanted for quite a while in his offense. Apparently he'd spoken to or had considered Tim Tebow for that role in his offense as well.
Sorry.
Two massive clunks in the blinking track here when Gav's phone keeps flying.
I just heard Tebow.
It wasn't his head hitting the floor. Faint.
It's something he's been looking for a while, and it works excellently.
He can do
plays
everything
that he's involved in are fantastic.
If you're a defense, you must be like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Hill's coming on the field. What are we going to do now?
Like, it adds another dimension as well to these trick plays, where traditionally it would be a running back probably throwing the ball, whereas because Hill is a quarterback,
you can throw the ball.
It's not just that he can throw the ball, but he knows when not to throw it as well.
There's a great play in that game,
actually. If the play is called for the ball to be thrown, the running back will throw the ball.
Mm-hmm. No matter what the situation is.
Reads where the offense is and what the defense are doing, and there was a great play where he rushed for the first down as well in one of these plays where Breeze had lined up in the Wildcat and all that sort of stuff. It just adds an extra dimension. It's brilliant.
So
Eagles, you want to talk about something there?
Wentz versus Folesgate. So the Eagles have came out and have confirmed that Wentz is their starter, which I think is a little bit premature.
We've had a few discussions of it. Have we talked about this on the cast? I think
we spoke about it briefly last time. I think we'll maybe have a quick debate about it. My thinking was more that you've got a guy that can carry your team to the most important part of American football. You do have someone who could be your franchise quarterback, who could potentially get you to where the other guy got you to.
Yeah.
You can make more. You can do more to your roster by trading away Carson Wentz than you can letting Nick Foles get paid.
Can you?
Well,
I don't know if you can. Right, so this is where we talked about it. Was it last week? Because we were talking about like 7 of the quarterbacks are in the playoffs on rookie deals, which means you've got the money to throw around elsewhere. And Wentz is still on his rookie deal. He's going to need paid anyway. So you would only have 1 year of him still playing for peanuts. Because I don't think they would let him go into his 5th year without having re-upped him.
So, yeah, that's what. So
my
my
only
point.
got 1 more year.
Yeah, so that's my point.
Cap to throw around.
My point is
or
that
you just pay Foles now.
Yeah, my thinking is you pay Foles, and then wherever the rest of your roster gaps are, whatever you get from trading Wentz, because you're looking at least 2 first rounds, at least just going by the way that the market is, or at least a first round and maybe a couple of seconds or whatever. God damn this stupid phone.
Stop putting it on your wallet.
No. So my thinking there was, because the Eagles are quite tight on cap space, so you can let a couple of guys leave or whatever, and then you can replace that with, draft picks where you don't then have to worry about that position for the next 5 years, as long as you draft the right guy.
So you're advocating for them to re-up Foles, keep Foles, and get rid of Wentz. That's what you're thinking they should do.
Yep.
Only because of what he can do in the postseason. There's a solid argument, and a lot of people have called this out, that Doug Peterson actually plays a better game with Foles than he does with Wentz, because in a sort of bizarre way, it's not that Foles is more limited. He does and what he calls for him works better for that team. It's a really weird combination.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the way it is, and it works. So there's a lot of like people that really know their stuff.
Yeah, effectively,
saying that works better for the Eagles actually for Peterson and Foles.
Foles' limitations makes the offense more effective.
That's summed up very well. Yeah. Well done. That's what I should have said.
So that's my thinking. When you because say for example they keep Carson Wentz, they let Foles go, they're still in a cap situation where they're probably going to lose players anyway. So you can lose players and you can have high value draft picks to replace these, players that you're paying.
Yeah.
That's my thinking of.
So
and Wentz's injury history, where he's not played a full season yet.
Yeah, so the thing that holds that back, and this is where the problem is and why the Eagles are in the situation they are in now, and the fact that Foles had his amazing year where he went 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and was just making a mockery of teams, and everything was clicking right. And then he followed up the next season by having a really awful year, which then threw him, into the mix of just another guy.
Yep.
Which he hasn't quite bounced back from. He's been kind of back up land since. Bounced around because he went off to the Rams and it didn't work there, and he's come back to the Eagles as a backup, and he seems to have settled as backup until he hit the postseason last year and just everything clicked.
Became clutch.
And he went back to being the backup, and he's done it again. Okay, they're out now, but you can quite easily argue that the Eagles only got as far as what they did because of Foles.
Yep.
So it's a massive problem for them to have. But I see what you mean. The fact they've already come out and they've just put all that speculation to bed and go, it doesn't matter, when's their guy?
Yeah, I find it bizarre. But
is that not, that's a byproduct of Foles having a $2 million buyout clause that he can activate himself. He can buy himself out his own contract for what will be nothing for him to hit the free agency.
Yeah,
if you're going to get $60 million from someone, you'll happily give $2 million that away just so you can get that $60 million.
That's what I think for the Eagles as an organisation, where you should go, okay, we've got someone that's done it for us when it matters. We've got someone that we think might be able to do it for us when it matters. Foles is young enough where you don't have to worry too much about, his age, and also they've got a decent offensive line to keep him upright. I don't know. I think there's more chips in the Nick Foles camps than there is in the Carson Wentz camp, because the Carson Wentz chips are projections rather than actuals. So that's your projection of Carson Wentz has to supersede what you think you can get from Foles, which is a Super Bowl win and a decent playoff run. Nobody expected them to, even get by the Bears. And I'm not saying he was categorically down to that, but he led them to that.
They were all but out of it by about week 14, were they not? They had to win out and get themselves in on the 6th and go on the run.
And they've done it. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a great debate. I think it's a great argument because Carson Wentz is obviously younger, and when he's healthy, he looks awesome. He obviously, he was the person that won the sort of regular season from 2 years ago, but
it's one that's going to be amazing in retrospect to look back on. 3-4 years from now, when you look back on this dilemma they've had and what did they do with it.
I also just think from a Nick Foles perspective, if I'm him, there's not many teams that I can go to and get the same level of success.
Flip side though, this is his time to cash in on his contract. You think business, he wants to hit free agency now because the draft class coming out isn't good.
His stock has never been higher.
Bingo. Yeah. Everything is sitting perfect for him to get his one big deal. It could be 3 figures, depending on the right team comes calling.
Of course, but so I guess my thinking here is
I don't imagine it. I think he's only going to get about 60 odd million, but there's nothing to say someone's going to fly in with a $100 million contract and say, we want you to be our guy for 5 years.
So obviously it's huge sums of money here, so obviously it does count. But my thinking here is, if say the Eagles said, right, we'll give you 50 million, 25 over 2 seasons or whatever guaranteed, versus, I don't know, I can't even think of who needs a quarterback right now. My mind's going blank. Jacksonville, well, they're in a cap situation as well, so they're going to need to do a lot.
You'll make it work. Let's not worry about the cap. Let's just go with the scenario.
So the scenario, say Jacksonville come and say, okay, we'll give you 60. Mm-hmm. Is that 10 million worth what you're potentially his legacy? If you think so, he can go from a Super Bowl winning quarterback to playoff, super clutch guy, to go into someone that never makes it to the postseason again.
So your 50 million at Philly, does that guarantee you the starter job?
That's my point though. If you trade away Wentz, it should.
Oh, so you're right. So you just said that. So that's the scenario. Yeah. So you stay at Philly on a short-term contract, knowing that you're the guy.
Yep.
Versus going to another team where you'll get more money and longer. You will 100% be the guy.
If you look at Foles this season as well, so Eagles had already sort of early, when Foles was starting, the job was still Carson Wentz. Like, there was no talk of Foles seeing out the full season.
No, yeah.
Foles is at his absolute peak when he knows he's the guy.
Do you know where he goes? He goes to Denver. He goes to quarterback purgatory.
Oh my God.
At the Broncos.
John Elway destroys his career.
No, however, I was a half joke. That is probably a good place for him to go, where everything else is set up for him to win, and with Fangio coming in, And who did he bring in as offensive coordinator?
It wasn't
'Cause
Kubiak.
It wasn't Kubiak
It
in
was
the end. Yeah,
Scrangarello.
The guy from the Seahawks. Oh yeah, I remember reading this. He was the Seahawks coordinator for 7 years.
Okay,
So he
right.
got Russell Wilson,
Yeah,
which is
it's not a bad place to go. It could work well for him. Yeah. But then there's the whole what everyone thinks is the where he's going to go now, which is down in Jacksonville.
yeah. We've definitely spoke about this longer than we probably should have.
What are we at? 44
Right.
minutes.
So, the conference championship weekend, we've got Rams at Saints, Patriots at Chiefs. Who's winning?
That was like a square hole in a round peg segue.
Doesn't matter. We're done.
Past segues.
The Foles Wentz debate is over. We've
Was it?
cumulatively decided that nobody actually has an answer, and we're just going to wait and see.
Yeah. Well,
We've argued for and
hypothesise
against.
about it again come free agency.
Probably next week. Yeah. It's going to annoy Gav that much all week.
It's still annoying me. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So.
So Nick Foles.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Foles is going to trade himself to the Chiefs. And stay at home
Mahomes
and-
becomes Taysom Hill.
Right. So who I think will win? I'm going to say it is Saints and Chiefs. I think it's both the home teams that are going to get away with it. Who I want to win, just for no reason other than anything else. I want a rematch of that 54-51. I want it to be Rams Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I think they deserve it based on the nonsense start of the season
that
they
would be
had,
so much
accumulating
fun.
in that Monday night game. At that point, it was like, right, you pin that for the Super Bowl, job done. The NFL has worked. The scheduling has worked perfectly for them. Everything's gone the way, from entertainment point of view, you'd want it to go. I'm generally not fussed out of the three of them, though, which win it. There's only one team I
So
don't
let's
want
be
to win it,
clear,
and that's-
we are all for anyone but the Patriots.
We are. I think it's going to be a Saints Patriots final.
Yeah, it's going to be that.
Yeah, I do.
You know what? As long as the Patriots don't win, I don't care. And I'm literally in that camp. I'd like to see the Rams win it because I think McVay's awesome.
Wouldn't.
No, because your backup team's the Saints, really. If you weren't
If I wasn't a
Cardinals
Cardinals fan, I'd be
yeah,
a Saints
you'd
fan.
probably be a Saints fan.
And the Rams are a divisional rival. No, the Rams can't win it.
Nah, I think Sean McVay has been awesome for the league since becoming the head coach. I think
He's changed how teams view their off-season
yeah.
for the last couple of years. And we'll see whether that... Because a lot of fads in the NFL might only last 2-3 years and something will change again. But we'll see whether this
He's
one sustains
moulded the
itself a
league
bit
into
longer.
being a super offensive league. Like everyone is now trying to copy what they're doing, or when the time's right, or most teams are. Sorry, his coaching tree's already really highly respected, and he's only been a head coach for 2 years.
Yep.
Well, that's the Bengals we were talking about earlier. There
They
seems to
look
be
to be
they're holding
taking
out.
for Zach Taylor, who's
Yeah.
the quarterback coach of the Rams. I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah. So and Matt LaFleur's already in it, Green Bay. So
Yep.
that's 2 head coaches from a guy that's been a head coach for 2 years. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, I hope the Rams do it. I like Sean McVay, and he's a former Redskin, so I'll take that. It's as close as the Redskins are getting to a Super Bowl.
This is what we could have had.
Yeah. Oh fuck! Don't get me started. Fucking Jake Ridden.
And there's our weekly. If you've got Gav Bingo in the go again. Remember that as a blast from the past. What was the Gav Bingo we were talking about? Maybe episode 6 through 10ish or something.
Yeah.
It was like the standard 5 things Gav will say in every single episode. And there was one week where you got to the end, and you're like, "Oh, I've got 2 minutes to go. I love Tyler Taylor and Jake Green sucks." And just chip them all off. Just chip them all off in about 2 minutes.
Love it. So yeah, as long as the Patriots don't win, to sum up our conference, we'll at least be some sort of level of happy. But they're going to get there and they're going to win it, and we're all going to hate football again.
Nah, I think they'll get there and the Saints will win.
We shall see. Not long to find out.
Yep. Okay. So moving on to, will we do this? Do we have enough time?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So
13 minutes.
I challenged the guys to rank their head coach and quarterback combo.
Of the 4 remaining.
Of the 4 remaining. So
Just put the caveat on that. When did you challenge me to do this?
10:30.
Yeah, like an hour
started
before we were
recording
due
at
to
half
start.
11,
It's like,
yeah.
God damn it, you've given me an hour. So I'm far less.
What we're doing?
prepared
4,
than
3, 2,
everyone
1.
else.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Right, 4 for me, McVay and Goff, purely because of Goff. I don't think he is a top level quarterback. I think he is an Andy Dalton-ish and a little bit more.
I think that's a bit tough. I think that's a bit rough.
Come on, he's better than Jameis Winston.
So's Tyrod Taylor.
So was everyone bar two people we thought at the time. And
I don't know. I think that's a little bit harsh on Goff.
But I know what you mean.
I get what you mean
the
as
other
well.
three are like a good rank ahead. There's not even a question of it. Out of the 4 quarterbacks that remain, he is number 4.
Yeah.
No brainer.
I just feel that when he's been left to do things himself, he hasn't come up all that great this season.
What was their record? 13-3.
Yeah.
And
as soon as teams worked out that you just schemed to not let him.
Yes, you're right.
As soon as teams were able to work out that actually.
Wait for the 20 seconds.
Wait until McVay can't speak
it.
to him. Take McVay out of the equation. He started to look a bit ropey.
Yeah, so I get that point. Mm-hmm. I think to put into context, he's definitely been scarred by the fucking Jeff Fisher. So, he's got
2 years ago though.
Yes, he's only like 3 years. So he's got McVay. So you think last year McVay got him to playoffs? Turned his career around. People were saying he was a bust.
Yeah.
People were saying he was a complete bust. Yeah. So Sean McVay's turned his career around.
Yeah.
So when you put into context of his learning, and he's got a playoff game and a divisional win. You can argue what everyone else is doing, but
there's no doubt the Rams are going to re-up him. He is their franchise guy now for
me.
I get your
he's
point,
solid, but he's not the level of Mahomes, Brees, or Brady.
Is he?
He's nowhere near it.
Is he Matt Ryan?
I'd have Matt Ryan over Jared Goff.
Kirk Cousins?
Oh, come on, fuck.
No, he's
better than Kirk Cousins.
I would agree.
I'm just tracking this middle.
I'd say
I would have Ryan ahead of him. I wouldn't have Cousins ahead of him.
Dak Prescott?
I'd have him above Dak Prescott.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, okay. I've just thrown.
He's probably about 7 or 8.
Cam?
I'd have him above Cam.
I would have Cam ahead of him.
I wouldn't have him.
Yeah, I'm just throwing. Devil's advocate. That good, solid sort of middle ground. Where do you rank him in amongst?
This feels like a different conversation for a different day.
I'm not going to weigh.
What's really funny? I've just argued this. I've just argued why Goff's getting a hard time, but I agree with your ranking.
Right. Well, I was really, because I had not much preparation. I haven't really put them 1, 2, 3, 4 because I'm useless. What I was going to throw in as devil advocates though is you literally just went on head coach and quarterback only as a pairing. Yeah. The devil advocate I'm going to throw in is your other coordinators are just as vital.
Oh yeah, of course.
And that's where it gets really complex, because to me, out of the 4 defensive coordinators, well, there's a bit of a caveat to that, but because Belichick is also head coach and defense coordinator, so I don't quite know where that sits. But
is that Brian Flores?
Wade Follett. No, he's linebacker coach.
Oh, okay.
So Wade Phillips is de facto the guy you would want.
Yep.
No questions asked.
Yep.
If Belichick was a coordinator only and not a head coach, then he might have the edge on Wade Phillips, but it's not going to be much between them. But you'd easily take Phillips ahead of Bob Sutton and Dennis Allen. Chiefs and the Saints.
Yeah.
So how much extra value does Wade Phillips give the organisation and the team? And this is
hard.
where I got really confused about how can I actually rank them. If you're going on where the 4 quarterbacks are, you could probably rank them, and you're right, put Goff in at 4. And so, you can carry on. I'll just shut up.
So Steve speaks lots, makes no point.
Only the fact that I find it really difficult. It's so it's not that we're talking these 4 combos versus
there's loads
Dirk Cotter and Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
right? Because that's the one I said earlier. Because like no brainer, right?
No brainer. You've got that top 10.
Winning the Super Bowl next year.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Right, who's your number 3?
I went for, and this is going to be really controversial.
I'm going to do Belichick Brady.
I'm going to do Belichick Brady
because Brady's on the downturn.
Because of the regression of Tom Brady. Thanks, Steve.
Only because that's kind of where I'd take your list, haven't I?
And that's my reason for it. I'm not saying that they're not, the greatest combo of all time, but right now, I think I would have.
You would take the other 2 ahead of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had Reed and Mahomes at 3.
Dun, dun, dun.
On the basis,
because you're thinking it might be a 1-year wonder.
No.
Okay, no.
So on the basis that, yes,
you said they would finish bottom of their division.
No, they've been excellent this year. Historically, Reed hasn't proven himself in the playoffs. Hasn't done it. So yeah.
Did he have the right guy? Just as a
No,
question.
he does have the right guy.
No,
now.
did he,
And
historically?
Was he not in
didn't.
charge of the Eagles when they
Donovan
went to the Super? Yeah,
Nab.
went to the
Right,
Super Bowl.
okay, so in recent history.
I know.
We'll give you
Showing my age again here, going back like 12 years or whatever.
But yeah, I mean they've been a one and done team pretty much in the playoffs, haven't they?
Yeah.
Over recent
Can't argue
history.
with
So that's why I've gone with them third. Second.
Steve, are you going to... Did you go for the same as me? Is that what you said?
I've got them in the same order
Yeah.
as you because I couldn't really figure it out. It depends if the other thing as well is are you talking literally just who would you fancy this year?
Yeah, just right now. I'm not...
versus nothing
Right, well, you
else.
could have clarified that.
So because if it's about who you fancy for this year, it's Mahomes and Reed is the top.
Okay, you've just spoiled your one.
They would still have been number 2 on my list.
I am with Andrew. I would have took them in 2.
You take
Mahomes...
Peyton
No, I would take
Breeze.
Mahomes... No, I would take Mahomes and Reed.
Yeah, we're talking top.
Can you not do this?
So I ranked this
No,
as an overall. So for right now,
So
I
when you
agree
give it
with
1 hour prep on a fucking
Yeah.
segment.
So right now, I agree with the pair of you that Belichick and Brady would be number 3 for now, but I've got them ranked at 1 because they are the
Everything's
greatest
done.
coach
Yeah, yeah.
and quarterback combination of all time.
Yes.
And
No, with you on that.
there's no arguments on that, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But possibly the greatest coach quarterback combination we'll ever see.
Wait. Can I just rewind for 2 seconds? So you're saying that Brady and Belichick are better than Rex Ryan and Tyrod Taylor?
Wow. There's a flashback to some glory days of Buffalo. Jesus.
Rex Ryan. That's funny.
So right now, overall my number 2 was Peyton Breeze. Right now they're my number 1 because I think Breeze is just so reliable. I love how aggressive Peyton is.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's kind of the purveyor of it. A lot of people talk about like Doug Peterson when he came in and about being like the guy who would always go for it on 4th down and how the league was slowly changing and being more risky because they value the amount of possessions and they're more keen to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, if you go right back to the first person to really kind of put that mould, it very much is Sean Payton that has come into the league, and he set his stall out that's what he would do. The onside kick to start the second half of the Super Bowl was literally one of the for its time, everyone was like, oh my god, what the hell are you doing? And it worked, and it was great to see.
Yeah, I think Drew Brees is...
Onside kicks are a thing of the past now.
Apparently they're going to review them again.
Well, what did you say? There was 3 of 38 were successful?
Oh yeah, because we had a good debate about that actually.
Yeah.
Tiny, just useless.
It's just the safety rules that they brought in this year. They're not allowed to have a running start, so they just can't get there quick enough to have a chance of getting the ball.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going Peyton 1.
Yep. So right now it's Peyton and Breeze, then it's Reed and Mahomes, then it's Belichick and Brady, then McVay and Goff.
Yeah. Cool. And Steve just complicated it for everyone and came up with none.
Yeah, I didn't do the brief properly. Sorry, everyone.
I mean, I could have maybe described it better, but hey ho, here we are.
So learning for next week.
Cool. And just to quickly wrap things up, just a quick update on the head coaching jobs. You've got some notes on that, Andrew?
I have. So 6 of them are filled. Of those, there's only 1 coordinator position that isn't filled as well. So the Bucks have gone Bruce Arians with his team of Todd Bowles as defensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich as offensive coordinator.
I like it.
The only thing I wasn't sure about was Leftwich. I didn't think he'd done enough for the Cardinals to say that.
Arians is going to have enough of an influence.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a bit of a
I
quarterback
suppose.
whisperer anyway. I think so. And I've said his name too many times in this podcast, but I think he's going to finally turn Winston round in the right direction. He might not be ever elite or in the top, whatever.
Leftwich is Arians' guy as well.
Yeah,
He's worked with him for years and years.
He'll know all the schemes.
He always was his future offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Okay, makes sense.
Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury as head coach. They've brought in Vance Joseph as defensive coordinator.
It's not bad.
And their offensive coordinator position is yet to be filled.
Is Kingsbury going to have enough
of
of
a lot of people?
Is he going to be one of these head coaches /
Jay Gruden? Don't let him do it.
Do most of the offense himself, and he has more like an assistant head coach.
Play caller.
Yes, I think so. So I assume that Kingsbury's going to be calling the plays.
Yeah.
It's going to be his.
It'd be weird
scheme.
not to let him do that. Really.
Yeah. So yeah, he will bring someone else in. They've ruled out a couple of folk. They've still got about 3 or 4 in the mix. They reckon that he might be waiting for someone that's still involved in the playoffs.
Okay.
Packers, Matt LaFleur. I really should have written down first names because I've now just got
Mike Pettine,
and
Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Okay, so that's his defensive and offensive coordinators. He had tried to get his brother from the Niners, Mike LaFleur, but they declined him.
What does he do? Is he quarterback coach or something?
Something like that.
I think I remember seeing that. Yeah. Well, good in the 49ers holding on to him then, because that probably bodes quite well for them.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Then the super aggressive Jets.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Adam Gase.
It's Adam Gase's press conference.
Is it Jesse
He's just like, what am I doing here? What's happened? It's like they brought some guy in off the street, put him in a suit and said, just sit in front of this microphone, don't worry about it, go for it.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see the Jets.
So yeah, Bates is the offensive coordinator, I've written that the wrong way round, and Greg Williams as the defensive coordinator.
That one.
Adam Gase, who falls out with players, and Greg Williams, who tries to kill players. What more can you want?
The shit show in New York continues. I think we'll summarise that one.
I think it's going to be so much fun to see them try and destroy Tom Brady. I can't wait for it.
Just for those 2 games this season.
I will actually look forward.
The rest of the season,
don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Williams is going to have a bounty on him.
I hope he does.
Well, he's not allowed anymore. Now it's not official.
But what he's going to do is he's going to wheel in $2.5 million in cash to anyone who can kill him.
Broncos, Fangio, Donatel, and as we mentioned earlier, Scangarello.
The only defensive.
The
rest are all offensive.
That's been confirmed.
Oh no!
At the minute.
Yeah.
We think the Dolphins might go defensive as well, but it's very much offense, which is quite interesting.
It's copycat league.
We talked about earlier. So yeah.
And
the least sexy.
Yeah. I think Fangio is the head coach.
Isn't sexy, is it?
Yeah, I think Fangio is the head coach. He was going to get something this season.
Yeah,
what he's done awesome with the Bears. And the Bears, no questions asked. He was getting something. I think he's gone to a place where he's going to get a little bit more rope than possibly some others.
Yeah,
I think because they have been in the doldrums for a while, the Broncos, since Peyton Manning.
I think he's also got enough experience under his belt where people like Vance Joseph didn't. Where like he probably didn't have the balls to stand up to John Elway, or if he did have the balls to stand up, where John Elway probably didn't listen. Whereas Elway might at least consider what Fangio says.
Yeah.
In fact, just whilst we're talking about the Broncos, something that I've seen, Paxton Lynch has signed with the Seahawks.
Ugh.
Who is he?
Russell Wilson, watch out.
Is that a futures contract for?
I think it's just for banter.
No, is it just he'll be in the initial 100 men next year?
Yeah, I just seen that. I just thought I'd mention it because we spoke about him last time.
Season.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if like Russell Wilson went down, Paxton Lynch carries the Seahawks to a Super Bowl win, and then
no,
but just because of like what it means for John Elway on his picks.
I know what you mean from that point.
Yeah, like from a complete banter purpose. Like
all aboard the banter bus.
Last one that have filled their positions: the Browns, Freddie Kitchens, Steve Wilkes, Todd Monken. Is that right?
It is Todd Monken. Was he Bucks?
He
was, isn't he? Bucks offensive coordinator. Right, it's gone over. Yeah, I don't hate it.
Steve Wilkes did very well in Carolina as defensive coordinator. His defense in Arizona was an absolute shambles, but the whole team was a shambles.
Yeah. Depends on what. Yeah,
there might be another issues there. So we'll wait and see. Maybe being out of the headline of the head coach might help him. He might be one of these.
Yeah, he might just be better. He's a coordinator.
Yeah. He's a bit more out of the limelight.
He was a defensive coordinator tasked with trying to get the best out of a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, it was.
Makes no sense.
It was an awful hire in the first place.
Steve Keim.
Yes. And Bengals and Dolphins yet to fill their positions, waiting on playoff participants. On the point of Steve Keim, one of the mental rumours that's been doing the rounds on the back of a clip from Cliff Kingsbury saying that he would pick Kyler Murray number 1 in the draft if he was there.
What a story.
Kyler Murray is now declared for the NFL draft. Should the Cardinals take him number 1 and trade Rosen, what would they get for Rosen?
But before you go into that, I think there's one thing that could also be, though. That could just be a little bit of bait for anyone that is interested in Kyler Murray to then jump up to try and get him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pure coincidence, because this is a clip that came out months ago. something that he said months ago when he was still a college coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be that actually you're putting out this bit of bait and maybe spreading the rumour. Although they have come out and said Rosen is our guy. There's no way we're trading him away.
Just like Kendall Fuller tweeted saying, "Don't worry, I'm not leaving the Redskins." And an hour later, he was like, "Okay, didn't mean that."
I think it would be supremely ballsy, and I would love it to happen just for the
banter purposes.
The banter episode. It has to be called something like this.
What
You've said it too much.
would Rosen demand?
Oh, I don't know.
I think you're getting
a low first rounder.
Yeah, a first and a third or something. It's what you'd hold out for him as Arizona. If you're Arizona,
if you're Arizona, you want as much as you get. But what could you
settle
get?
For? First and a fourth.
Well, who would take him? Who would he?
That's another thing. I can't see
as
who
a
would take him.
pocket passer. Jacksonville, maybe. But they've got the 7th pick. You're not going to give up pick number 7 for them.
Josh Rosen, no.
They're maybe thinking they can get money at 7, or use that to catapult up to get them.
So apparently,
the Giants, they were there. They're like 5th. No, they're not giving it up.
So obviously once you've declared, you then start to get reports from general managers as to where they think you will go in the draft. A lot of the GMs are slating Murray to go in either the 2nd or 3rd rounds. If he's still there at the start of the 2nd, do you think Cards might just
that might tempt him? If he's still hanging about, that could tempt him.
So they don't have to actually give anything away.
And then do you stay with Rosen and Murray on your roster and let them have a proper battle it out?
Yeah.
I think the big issue that comes with Josh Rosen is the lack of mobility.
Yep.
You don't have a great offensive line right now. So Steve's kindly reminded us that we're way over time.
That's right, carry on.
So yeah, I think there's probably more question marks around Rosen, but I just can't see what you would get for him from who. I can't think of anyone that's going to be in a certain position where they would be willing to give up enough for Josh Rosen.
Yep. I agree.
It's tough. I do think there's a massive... all the people that have been drafted in the last few years, he looks like the most likely to be a bust.
Who, Murray?
No, Josh
Rosen. Sorry, right.
And I don't know if that's... I don't know if he's maybe going to be a bit like Jared Goff was scarred by Jeff Fisher. Has Josh Rosen been scarred by Steve Wilkes?
And actually he may bounce back and come good at some point.
He absolutely could, but it's just right now he's in this.
Needs that young offensive mind to... And I mean, I think that's why they've gone with Kingsbury, because he's a guy that can build an offense around a quarterback.
And he's a pass-based...
They always said Rosen was the most cerebral out of all the ones that got picked this year.
Read quite an interesting article.
His football brain is far advanced. He is
just his brain in general. His dad is a world-renowned spinal surgeon.
Wow.
So some good genes.
Yeah, well, his mother's family own a big publishing house and things. He's a proper part of the elite.
The 1%ers.
Well, yeah, the 0.1%ers, I think.
The Illuminati.
Yeah. His dad was under consideration to be the lead surgeon in Barack Obama's administration. That kind of level.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
Wow. Shall we table this then?
Yeah, I think it's a conversation.
We'll come back to this maybe next week, depending on how
when we get to draft time and we get to
after we've done a Super Bowl pod, we can maybe take a note of these sort of debates and see where we take them. But they're definitely interesting.
Yeah. So we've got conference championship weekend to look forward to. It'll be awesome, and we'll speak to them next week.
Speak to them.
Yeah.
We'll speak to them. Who are we speaking to next
week?
Them,
as the listeners. Them. Sorry, you.
Those of you that are still with us, thank you very much.
We've struggled to stay with us.
Find us at the AF Cast on Twitter, or the American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook, as per usual, and we'll speak to you next week.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.